Need to ask Jesus.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. Let's give it another minute.
Under the pressures of your life and it tough. No stay down, mama, try and pick it up. No bother with the downfall styles, quickly up full vibes. Replicate that on the bills, them, the rent and the mortgage due. Yeah, yeah. When me chalice, when your best friends are gone and it's only you. Yeah, like a past split on the music. Yeah, been sweet. Everybody wanna feel like me. You know, feel like your music sweet. Everybody wanna feel like free. But the trouble is when I'm trying to you know, feel like your music sweet.
All right.
For every pain, there's a melody.
All right, let's get started.
For every trouble, there's a harmony that brings everything together.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. This is Levels of Mastery here with Master Pyro, the host. What's up, everybody? I know the vibes. I'm out here in Los Angeles, California, base 3 of IMC Nation. Man, today is another episode of me going live, sharing my, my philosophy, my process, phases of my life, right? Every cycle, every week per se, every 7 days, I come here and I speak on, my lifestyle, my, things that become new revelations in my life, right? My connection that I believe that I'm walking towards is with God, right? And how this is working in my life and the understandings, the state of mind, all this. And that's the real core behind everything that's happening is the state of mind. It is how you're viewing things, your perspective, your attitude. That is the flavor of your life from day to day to day to day. And even when you're maybe even going through something that could be, that's very deep, you know, even if you have the right power to change your state of mind and see things from a new perspective, you can carry on your day full of light, even with this darkness trying to take over or trying to, you know, maybe even remind yourself that it's there, but it's not even about that. It's about staying in the light. And you stay in the light by remaining conscious and remaining conscious to what? To the truth. Now, the lighting's a little rough here, so let me see how I would do this. Better. So this is really strong because, you know, a lot of times people overlook the state of mind because when you're operating off of truth, you have more to pull from. And when there's a moment of uncertainty, this is where the freedom of creating is available. Now, as we know, if not most of the time and not all, if not all the time, for sure, most of the time, we don't know what's going on. So that leaves us a lot of space of creating that is within our will. Our will is to be able to do whatever it is that we want. That's something that God gave every single living person, right? The will to do whatever they want. And how are you going to exercise that day to day, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, right? And the only way to really be more aware of what's going to happen unconsciously is what you're consciously putting into repetition, right? And a lot of that comes from what you're doing internally, the internal work of that. So the topic of, or the title of this video, something amongst these lines, is growing in a network, right? I spoke about this today on my morning mastery. And I'm going to go ahead and extend on it a little bit more because I see the value in it even more, which is, see, when you're in a network, the proper way of entering in the network is knowing I'm here to evolve and become better. So therefore, everything that I know up until I get there, I have to know how to let go at some point. I have to know that some of these things might hold me back because they're only meant to get me where I needed to go from point A to point B to point B to point C, so on and so forth. Yes, there are going to be some concepts and ideas that you may have to pick up again, or you may have to carry on with, but we don't know that until we get there. And this is a good way of understanding that, like emptying your cup. You have to empty your cup. And what does this even mean? We say this a lot, but what does it really mean? It means the skill to unlearn something, right? To let go of something. That's emptying your cup, because how many times we see a lot of people that go into a class acting like they know everything, so they don't learn anything. That's like somebody that doesn't know how to fight, and they're taking fighting classes, and then they're in the class like, yeah, I got that, I could do that. Yeah, I could do that too. I could do. Yeah, we know you can attempt to do it, but are you doing it properly, right? Don't mistake the factor of attempting to do it and the factor of building what needs to be built to be able to do it to the actual result of doing it, because people are trying to measure things that's not even made yet. And when you're in a network, you have to know what your skill is. You got to know what your value is, and it needs to already be somewhat in motion. And if not, you should be on a system to grow it and to get better at it, right? Everything that I'm aware that I'm obtaining in my life, that I can honestly say is, I know I took the right steps to be where I'm at every time I'm in any room, in any place, at any time. Why? Because I remember it was like a deal I did with myself, if you will, or a deal with my higher self, whatever you want to call it, but it was internal. And I remember I was thinking, I was like, you know, I can go about this situation and I can skip a lot of levels, or I can skip a lot of ways around becoming great, right? There's a lot of shortcuts. In other words, there's a lot of shortcuts to where you want to go. But I made a deal with myself, like, you know what? I don't want to take any shortcuts. I want to know that when I get to where I want to get to, if I accomplish what I want to accomplish, it's because as a man, I got there the right way. I got there knowing that I put myself through the right path and I'm paying the right price for what I want. Because a lot of people that have things that I want, they didn't pay the right price for it. Man, they're paying a price that you don't even want to know. And how do we know that? Well, they're always watching over their back, right? They can't trust anybody, right? They have to, all these things, it's like it shows you that something is not clean behind these material things that they obtained in life. And a lot of that gets cleaned out based on your state of mind. And the state of mind of knowing, listen, when I get into a network and I'm trying to grow with people that's already in the big space, I have to know I have to let go of some shit. And this is like the root of it, because every time I go around because see, being a filmmaker, I'm able to be in a lot of different social settings and a lot of different social, places, if you will. And I can see a lot of people that they get to a certain level and they think, man, they think that nobody can tell them anything, right? They think they know everything, maybe because they have the money now, maybe because they have the status now, or they got the girl that they wanted. So a pattern that I see is that people get comfortable. Once they begin to obtain certain things that they have, or that they wanted once upon a time and now they have, they become comfortable. So what areas in our lives can we look at and be like, man, I'm a little too comfortable in this area of my life. Like, I need to get better. I need to reawaken that spirit of innocence of like, I want to see how good I can get at this. Like, what if I took myself seriously and it was like, you know what? I'm going to see how good I can get at making money, making friends, making relationships, right? Being more free in my communication when I speak. Like, how would I be if I actually try that? Like, if I actually go for that and I don't give myself no excuses, like I don't shortcut myself. I don't try to tell myself I'm too tired when I know I'm not, I'm just being a little too laid back. Like, I'm being honest with myself. And I was like, let's see what really happens. Let's see if I'm just bullshitting myself or I just have this fake idea in my head that I won't make it in life. But what if I actually try? So this is the proper state of mind you need to have when you're going into a network, a group of people, because automatically you're being self-sustained off of your own results and your own willingness to commit to your growth. So people around you are attracted to that because how many people can't do that for themselves? That's what makes us powerful. That's what makes us walk with more strength, because we figured out through having a process, right? Waking up at a certain time, right? It is about waking up at the time you say you're going to wake up. That's the key element. Like, what time do you say you're going to wake up? Why? Because you're connecting your action with your words. That's a frequency you must be on, right? That's a certain conscious level you have to be to say something and do something at the same time. That's a combustion of energy that happens. That's why a lot of people don't have too much motion, because they're thinking one thing, they're saying something, and they're doing something completely different. There's no alignment in their world. This is the three main pillars of communication that they're failing at internally. So 100% externally, they're fucking up and everything they're doing, because what truth is in the fabric of their reality that life can help them with? Nothing, because it's all unalignment shit, right? And it's crazy. So what does this all mean? It just means that take your word more seriously. Don't give your word if you're not going to do something. Like, make that a habit. Like, one, changing your language. That's number one, right? Having more positive language and less halfway language. People have a lot of halfway language. So just in case they fail, just in case they don't do it, right? There's time for that, right? There's times where that's necessary, but that can't be all the time. You got to let your yes be yes and your no be no, right? That's what the Bible says. Say what it is or say what it's not. But don't be in the middle. Don't be monkey in the middle, one side or the other side. And the reason why this is so gold. This is so gold because when you treat your word as this, your words become more valuable than gold. Your words is the most purest thing we have as human beings, because how else are we communicating right now? How else am I going to make money when I go out my door? How else am I going to tell the guy to make me the food that I want? How else am I going to have the relationship to make? How else? I have to communicate. I have to structure words with that. But because it's something that happens all the time, it's being overlooked as a key component to leveling up our reality. Your life would 100% change starting right now if you choose to go the route of, I don't want to fully express myself. You're going to create a whole different reality versus going the other way and saying, I'm going to speak with pure confidence and truth of my reality as a man as I move forward. I guarantee you, your experience as a man is going to change just going through these two paths. That is all internal, because only you have that space to create that. Now, all of this that I'm saying is going to circle back into how I'm living today. Today is a day that I'm still under the weather a little bit. Like I had like this sinus congestion thing going on. I came out of nowhere, and I still got up. I still went to the gym. I still went to the sauna. I still did my stretching, right? Still did my process that helps me stay consistent in this understanding of health, right? This is the consciousness of health. When you take care of your body, when you take care of your mind, when you take care of things that are not as sharp as they could be in the immediate circle of you, which is within yourself. So right now I'm feeling my body is under attack, right? Because it's sick. Not sick, but it's like it's under a little congestion or whatever. So it's like, okay, well, consciously I have to think health. You can't be thinking sickness. And it makes me see other things in my life. Like, man, why am I thinking so less or so open to the idea of being sick? Or why am I so open to the idea of not being so well? Like, all these things play a different role in how I choose to experience my life. So this is really good, because now we can see, okay, now we can measure life properly and what's happening. We can't bullshit ourselves, because that's what's happening. We want to bullshit ourselves to make ourselves feel good about shit. No, be honest with yourself. Face these things. And by doing this, you're going to attract the network you want to have. You're going to attract the people that you want to have around you. Because anything less than these things open up the door for people that are doing less of all those things, which is better communication, better state of mind, right? Being honest where you are in the spectrum of becoming better, and not lying and not cheating yourself. Having that commitment. So to become a better individual in a pack or better individual in a network, you got to be a stronger individual internally, you within you connected with God. How is that? I guarantee you, when you look at that shifts something in you, because when you can be honest within your heart and knowing what you're going after, you don't have to apologize, right? The same way how the lion doesn't have to apologize for eating today. The alligator don't have to apologize for eating today. But it's under the innocence of life or death. It's under innocence of survival. But we're human beings. We don't have to do all that crazy shit. But it's the understanding of what? I don't have to apologize when I'm doing the right thing and growing my reality within myself. That's going to naturally bless and nurture those around me. So if you're that type of man that knows for a fact, if I'm blessed, those who are around me shall be blessed as well. They should be able to experience this blessing or this wealth state of mind as well as I am. Then you don't have to apologize for you going after what needs to be obtained. You don't have to apologize for rejecting things that don't need to be in alignment of this, because that's just the truth. Things don't have to, no. You got to be that gatekeeper within your heart that says, this doesn't align with what the bigger cause that I'm creating in this life. And you have to know what that is as a man. You have to know what it is that I'm doing in this life. And that's a roaming question from almost anybody. So the question is, how do you figure that out? Well, damn it, we start out just wanting to be blissful, happy individuals, right? That's something I learned from Maharishi. He says our natural state is bliss. So anything that's not of bliss or happiness, things of that nature, is not of your nature. It's some other shit. It's something else somebody told you should be worried about. Because we don't have to be worried about half the shit that's going on. But that doesn't make us lack responsibility. There's a difference. We don't allow the game to chew us up. We know where we are in shit. Shit's fucked up. I'm in debt, or it's hard to find it. Whatever the bullshit is, I get it, but we have the minds to figure it out. You have the same brain that every man was born with. It computes, it thinks, it understands, it analyzes just like anybody else. But we don't exercise that to the fullest because we got caught up in this other game. Let's use this thing. Let's sit down and think. Think for a moment. All it takes is literally a moment to sit down and say, you know what? I'm not moving forward until I think about this for a second, and I'm going to figure this shit out. I'm going, like, where is that energy? Like, as a kid, when you had Legos and you didn't know how to put the motherfucker together, you're like, I'm going to figure this shit out. You don't got to tell me. I'll figure it out. You was just there figuring it out, reading the paper, like, boom, whatever the case may be. Like, that's how I was. I figured it out because I had that willingness to say, you know what? Nobody wants to tell me. I'll figure it out. That's not something that just goes away. That's just something that we buried for whatever reason that is accessible. Starts with a state of mind. And this is the true power of being within a social group, because it naturally elevates you as people elevate underneath you. So you grow even more. So this is why I invite everybody to understand why these principles are important when it comes to wanting to become a part of a network and grow inside of a network, and how to maintain and sustain being inside of a network. It starts with a state of mind and a focus and a driven commitment to become that next evolution of yourself, because you can't be the same person today as you were yesterday to be the best person a couple years from now. It starts from that. All right. Appreciate everybody for tapping in with me. Shout out to Charlie, our Nation brother that taps in with our AZD. I appreciate you for joining me today, brother, joining live. All right, much blessings to you, my friend. Salute. And everybody else, thank you for watching. This is Nation Master Pyro. Be the best and fuck the